welcome to Call Me Emma. I'm your host, Emma. We just finished our first show of our 2 shows Saturday, and I am headed over to hang out with the one, the only, Amber Ardolino. You've never heard of her. We're gonna eat some dinner and watch some Dirty Dancing. One thing for me this year was to thrive. And thriving to me looks like spending quality time with my friends. Even though sometimes I would prefer to lay low and take a nap, I'm pushing myself to go and carve out more quality time with my friends. So that's what's happening right now. That's what's happening today. Also, tune in later. We are doing the sound interview with Heather, who I'm super excited to talk with. And it's also Rose's last show. Rose is the girl who would come in and brush my hair. You remember. She is headed over to do Boop. We lost 1 and 2 people. Now, 2 people to Boop. But that's okay. We're very happy for them to be working. I'm super excited for her. She also gets to hang out with my friend Tori. You guys remember Tori from Back to the Future? Hi, Tori. Hi. So anyway, it's a sad but also happy day. So we're gonna go out tonight and have some drinks with her. And guess what? Just guess. You might get it right. You're coming with me. Okay, let's go. Oh, also, that's all. Vlog, devastating news. We didn't get to finish the movie. How far are we? We're at this part. And I'll never know how it ends, I guess. I'm really excited that you're here. Please tell us who you are and what you do.
Hi, I'm Heather Augustine. I'm the mixer here at Outsiders. So if you're sitting in the house, I'm the one in the back of the orchestra at the big shiny board.
I want to start with a question that I actually learned from a Q&A that we did recently. Sound has the most cues in the show.
Yes, programming wise, within the software that we use, which is called QLab, there are about 1,000 different items in that program. So not all of those cues are taken. Some of them are chained together.
Sure.
Some of them do different things. So for our sound system, it uses a program called Elisa, which is L-ISA. And so that when you guys are in the house and you hear things moving around, that's that program working and sending things. So there's some cues that tell that to change to different positions and do different things. So like when the actors are crossing across stage, there are different cues that track with them and that type of thing. It's all programmed. The actors do not wear trackers.
What?
So it's not automated.
Everybody hold on a minute. When we first met, very first day of you get the presentations of getting to know everyone, our Tony Award-winning sound designer, Cody Spencer, he described to us this like surround sound system that he was going to be creating in the Jacobs for the first time. For the Jacobs, question mark?
It's the first time that this system has been used for a traditional Broadway show.
Okay, cool.
He used it on Here Lies Love.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
And that was like a big concert and it was very in the round. But our show is obviously in a proscenium. It doesn't come out in front of you, but the sound does travel. The only time I've ever noticed it personally, at the very final scene when Ponyboy is watching the TV, you could tell the TV's coming from the downstage left side of the stage, but it's not coming from like all around. So you're telling me that every time we move, our sound moves in the space.
So yeah, so the second scene when all the greasers come in and you have all the different people, Two-Bit actually sounds like he's by the car. Daryl actually sounds like he's by the fountain. So it actually makes it easier to identify who is who, actually pulls your focus to where it's supposed to go.
And so all of that, like you said, we're not wearing trackers, so that's all pre-programmed.
Yes. We rely on you guys heavily to follow your blocking.
Holy cow, I didn't know that. I'm learning. This is why I love these things. One of the questions that somebody had was, are there cues in the show that you take off of an actor, and are there cues in the show where the actor is taking it off of you?
There's definitely stuff I take off of actors. I think there's a couple things that people take off of us in the scene with Johnny and Dally, the domestic violence one where you can hear his parents fighting. There's a dog bark that happens.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he always waited for that before he pulled out the switchblade. All the systems are interconnected. There's some stuff that lighting triggers what we do. We trigger some stuff with lighting, so if they're supposed to go together, it just kind of depends on what's happening. So like the stabbing scene, I trigger those because that's something it's easier for me to take a visual instead of stage management having to anticipate it to give a go to lighting for them to hit the button to hope that it's on time. The Ponyboy slap that Daryl does, that was one that I originally had, and they were like, okay, you take it on this word, but it's a slap, I should take it on the visual. It took it on the visual, and then you had the huge wind up. Brent has already finished the slap, and you just hear the big old wind up, and then the slap, and I was like, Bev, can you take that one?
Wow, that's so cool. I guess that's like one of those things that's, I think as like an audience member, I would never imagine what things were trial and error when it comes to figuring out who's calling stuff. I think it's easy to imagine most of it is stage management, but really it comes down to like, who has the best visual?
At the stabbing scene, we swap partway through because we go from visuals to, they have the IR camera so they can see in the dark as everyone's splitting. So that's something where I could guess.
Yeah, but
or they could give me a cue light to say like, okay, we're ready to go. Or they could just see when everyone's set in the IR shot, give lighting the go. It's just that back and forth of who has the best vantage point.
The other day when we were gonna do our Q&A, you had a shadow. Tell me a little bit about what does it mean to have a shadow and what was that like to have someone following you around?
So when we have shadows, that means, at least for sound, they'll come in for when we do preset. So for the crew, we're in an hour and a half before the show starts. That's to power everything up, to check through everything. For sound, we check through all of the speakers. We make sure that Elisa, that programming, is actually talking to everything so that it's getting the cues that it needs to. So it's going to move where it needs to in its presets. Check through all the speakers, check through the mics, check the band. The nice thing about Outsiders is that it's very educational based. We have a lot of people who are usually college, early professional, coming into Shadow because they're interested in doing sound. They'll come in, they'll be with me for preset and kind of ask questions, and most of it is the like, what does this do?
Yeah,
what is
100%.
happening now? How does all of this go together? And then they'll sit with me for the show while I'm mixing. You can see most of the show. You can't quite see when Johnny and Tony are up on the church platform, so they have to kind of duck down a little bit to see that.
Are they like blown away by all the stuff that you do?
Actually had a girl last night who was in standing room behind me, and she was just like, you didn't stop moving the entire show. Like,
correct.
Yeah, it keeps me busy. It's very good for my squirrel brain.
Last question. If someone is watching this and they're like, oh wow, that kind of sounds really cool to me, I want to learn more about that, what's a piece of advice that you would give them?
So for anyone who wants to do pretty much anything in theater, I'm a very big advocate of go bother people. If you're coming to see the show and you see me in front of house, come bother me, say hi. For sound, personally, I do a blog for a group called Sound Girls. So if you go to soundgirls.org,
We'll be sure to link it in the bio.
yes, they are an organization that is geared towards providing better inclusion for women and non-binary people in the audio world. I think that the statistic is from probably like 5 or 6 years ago, but at that point, women across concert touring, recording, theater, everything made up about 5% of the workforce.
Hey, that's crazy.
So we're working on that. They have a ton of different resources. They have the different blogs. They have people across all the disciplines. So if you're interested in recording or live concerts, theater, any of that stuff, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So that's honestly a great place. If you're feeling really stalkerish, you can try to look me up on LinkedIn.
Work!
I have
Bother
Heather
Heather
a couple times.
Yes, Heather, thank you so much. This is so special. If you have any follow-up questions, write them in the comments and we will do a follow-up interview with Heather and ask any more questions, because I feel like I didn't even ask all the things I wanted to ask, but this feels good. This feels really nice.
Good teaser trailer.
Thanks, Heather.
Absolutely. All right.
Okay, bye. Thank you, mood lighting. I don't have my front lights on because it's the nighttime show and we're taking it easy. Doesn't look great though, does it? Should I put this light on? Just don't want it to be... Me saying, I just don't want it to be too much. Let me just turn it down a little bit. Could be worse. Hey, vlog. Who's gagged by that conversation? Clap if you learned something. I did not know we were literally like mapped out on the stage and in the house. She explained it to me a little bit after as well. The sound is mapped out in a donut, the way that the speakers are. If you have any more questions about Heather, about her job, about the specifics of like running a show backstage, what does it actually look like when you're doing it, please comment. We will do similarly to the hair one where we have a comment that you can like add to, because I genuinely think I had more questions, but then when I learned about the sound mapping, I was thrown for a loop. So very sad I didn't finish Dirty Dancing. I don't know how it ends. I was sitting there thinking, I don't think I've ever watched this movie. I thought I did. I don't think so. Anyway, we're back in the play and we are going to celebrate Rose tonight at Miss Nellie's. I'm very sad to not have her, but thankfully someone who subs in for her a lot is gonna be here in her place full time, so I'm very excited about that. Okay, bye. I just came up the stairs, so I'm out of breath. That's not the point. The point is, I think it's snowing. Let's look. Don't worry, I'm just gonna put you right here while I push this up. Oh my god. Guys, how beautiful. Thank you, Smash Next Door, the Imperial. Wowie, wowie, wow. New York City. Morning vlog. It's not that I'm having a bad morning. It's just I'm having one of those mornings where my entire iced coffee from my meal deal spilled on the subway. One of those like straws that broke the camel's back type thing. But I still have the meal. I got an iced coffee from Pret. We're rocking with it. But the most important thing is I'm headed to the Entertainment Community Funds building to work on a food grant committee for Broadway Cares. What? I'll let you know what that means as soon as I do. But basically in the last week, I've been reviewing a bunch of food grant donation applications from organizations all over the country who benefit from the fundraising that we do at Broadway Cares. And I found one actually in Memphis, Tennessee, which is only an hour away from where I live. I was so like, wow, this is cool. Like I know exactly where this is and it's cool to see what they do. And I'm being a part of the organization that gives them funds to continue to take care of thousands of people. That's where we're going. Despite the spills, we're thriving. Oh my god, everybody on Zoom here. Hey. It's giving corporate. It's giving girl boss. Right.
3, 2, 1, smile. Is the vlog good? This is for
It's
Ami's vlog.
good.
Okay, I'm back at the theater because it's 1:30 and we have a 7 o'clock show, and I would love to take a nap before that. You guys, that was really, really cool. Last year, Broadway Cares raised over $5 million through our fundraising in the fall, or through the whole year, and we got to allocate some of those funds towards organizations all over the country who need it. The committee that I was on today was the Food Grants Committee. So the applications for the grants that Broadway Cares gives are from organizations that help with food pantries, meal prepping, and meal deliveries, and also like soup kitchens. I got the chance to read applications from all over the country, literally all over the country. You name a place and we read an application from there. And I actually got to read one, and I'd love to read a little bit about it for you because it was one that really touched my heart. So please let me find it. Okay, so it's called Friends for Life Corporation, and it's in Memphis, Tennessee. My family, we grew up like an hour and a half away from Memphis. So I was like, oh my gosh, I fly into Memphis whenever I come home. I want to learn more about what this organization does. In the application, they talk about how much money they want, how it's going to be allocated, but they also just give you like a rundown of what their organization is about. And that is the coolest part about these applications. You get to get a glimpse into what their organization does day to day, as well as the impact that it has over a year. Friends for Life Corporation was founded in 1985 through the grassroots efforts of individuals whose friends were affected by HIV and AIDS. The agency changed its name to Friends for All in 2023 and moved into a larger headquarters to reflect its rebranding to serve all members of the community regardless of HIV status. Now, this is one of the cool things about this committee specifically, is that it broke how it's allocating its funds into two different groups. One group is for people who only service people who have HIV and AIDS, and the other group is for people who have HIV and AIDS and other illnesses or cancer, diabetes, groups that tend to be more food insecure. So these are the 5 major services that make up Friends for All. So they have medical services, they have clinical services, they have support services, which include a food pantry and a congregate meal program, which is like where they deliver meals to people's houses, like 3 meals a day. They also offer housing services for people who may be in between apartments or who might be just chronically homeless, and then also HIV prevention services. It's so cool. I think the thing that blew my mind was like, I didn't realize Broadway Cares was aiding in communities so near to where I grew up. This is an hour and a half from where I grew up. Broadway is giving money to communities in need near where I live. Like, I think I would have never known that. So I encourage you to look into some organizations either in the town that you're in or like the neighboring city. Look into any of the organizations that specifically work with people who have HIV and AIDS, and you might be able to see how Broadway Cares is affiliated with that community. And if you really feel so inclined to donate, of course, which we've done a little bit together in the last year, or volunteer, getting the chance to really get your hands into the buildings and into the communities of people who are in need. I mean, just doing this today has made me feel like there's hope in the world. I was so grateful to be a part of this today because I think for me personally, the last week with our administration has been emotionally tough for me. I'm just gonna be honest, and I know that I'm speaking from a place of privilege, being a cisgender white girly pop and being in New York City, which is incredibly liberal. I'm also an empathetic girly, so my heart is breaking for all of my Black and brown and LGBTQIA community members who are being directly affected by a lot of the things that are being put forward and signed executively into power through the administration right now. And so it's just been, I've been very sad. I've been feeling very down, and I've been feeling. Having the chance to do this work with Broadway Cares has given me the chance to remember that community is what's important. Even when it is very overwhelming and there are big things that are happening that we should keep our eyes on and continue to call our representatives about or peacefully protest about or sign petitions about, while that is still going on, actually being involved immediately in your communities is only gonna bring you hope and light and remind you that there are amazing people around you who care about you, which feels like a breath of fresh air. I don't know if that's gonna resonate with any of you right now, and if it totally doesn't, thank you for holding space for me. But if it does resonate with you, all I can say from this experience is reach out to your community. Now, that doesn't mean going to an actual organization. Like, if that feels like too big of a task, just reach out to your friends. Maybe do something positive for the environment. I mean, I have one more organization that I got to read about. This one is called the Joshua's Heart Foundation. This one also spoke out to me when I read it. It's from North Miami Beach, Florida. So if you're watching from there, maybe take a peek about this organization. So this is just the first sentence. I was like, Joshua's Heart Foundation was founded in 2005 by then 4.5-year-old Joshua Williams. He gave a homeless man $20 on his way to church and watched the, quote, Feed the Children's program on television. He subsequently created a vision to stomp out hunger. That's what it says. He had difficulty understanding why there were hungry people in Miami, South Florida, and worldwide. Joshua engaged his mother and grandmother to help him to start feeding food insecure people. After 2 years of cooking meals in their home for over 200 homeless families weekly, Joshua's Heart Foundation became a nonprofit in 2007. This youth-driven, adult-guided organization has been distributed food directly to needy families and individuals, as well as contributing to solving hunger and poverty for the past 19 years. It doesn't have to be you going to an organization if it does feel a little overwhelming and maybe you don't have the chance or the resources to get to one. It can be as simple as getting some friends together and give a sandwich to someone on the side of the road that you see who might need it. I encourage you to find a way to feel like you're a part of the community, because you are. With everything that's going on, I personally was feeling like that's not how I believe the community actually feels or is interested in. And so I'm very grateful to be working on something and had the chance to work on something today that made me feel like I was a part of something that was making change, that is actually giving people opportunities to have a safe place to lay their head, to have a meal every single day, even though they might be disabled and they can't leave their house. Anyway, it was a very moving, emotional day today and yesterday. And I wanted to say, if you were someone who donated to Broadway Cares through me specifically, or through The Outsiders, or just at all in the last year, I wanted to say thank you. It's so cool to be the person in the middle who's watching the funds go to actual people who need it. And I'm just here to tell you that's because of you. Thank you so much on behalf of Broadway Cares, on behalf of Broadway. You are helping so many people in need. You did that. We did that. Anyway, shout out to Broadway Cares. We're definitely gonna start fundraising again for Broadway Cares, I think next month or so. I don't remember. They do it twice a year, the red buckets. So keep an eye out for a way to donate so you can be a part of something that really makes actual change and an impact on so many people's lives who need it. With that, I'm gonna close my eyes and take a nap. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Bye! And that, folks, is the end of our episode. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. We finally got Heather in here to talk sound. Tell me everything you thought. Tell me if you have any more questions. I think I personally do. We will do the same thing that we did with the hair episode. Comment from the comment, and we can make a new video after that. I hope you really, really enjoyed that, because I know I did. Thank you, learning. We love to learn. I also hope you really enjoyed hanging out with me doing the Broadway Care stuff. That was really cool. We're actually gearing up to get ready to do some fundraising for Broadway Cares. I think we start in March, middle of March or something. So if you have something on your mind about a way that we can personally raise money as The Outsiders, comment down below and let me know. We're thinking about doing a couple of raffles for a couple of different things. I'll keep them secret until it's announced, but especially for those of you who are not able to come to the show and you still want to feel a part of our community and donate to the Broadway Cares community that helps so many people across the country, let me know what you think, because I was playing with this idea of cameos for a cause. Hashtag cameos for a cause. If there's some sort of way we could do personalized videos for donation. The only thing with that is that it's hard to do a lot of them. Do you know what I mean? Because they do take time, and so we don't want people's donations to go without a video, but we want to make them you see what I'm saying? Let me know what you think about any donating ideas or fundraising ideas that you have for when we start raising money for Broadway Cares in March. And you know what I'm gonna say. Like and subscribe to my video and this guy. Thanks. Arlo makes me say it. Thanks so much for hanging out. I hope you have an amazing week. I know you are seeing this on Sunday, and I'm excited for you to have an amazing week. I'll see you next Sunday. Bye! Also, Heather loves cool earrings. I should have mentioned that. She was sitting next to me. Every day she's always wearing a fun earring that either has a story or they're just really intricate and beautiful. And that's one of my favorite things about her.